welcome as well, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube. As I am a little bit bruck, as the kids call it, we are going to be rating World of Warcraft introductionary cutscenes. This time around, I didn't exactly make a list beforehand. I did go briefly over cutscenes beforehand, and I say let's just dive into the cutscene that got me into World of Warcraft. And then we'll see where we're gonna put these, right? Starting off with classic cutscene.
4 years have passed since the mortal races banded together and stood united against the might of the Burning Legion. Though Azeroth was saved, the tenuous pact between the Horde and the Alliance has all but evaporated. The drums of war thunder once again.
Be me, right? And I don't know if Mr. C is still in the room with us right now, but this all the way back, Mr. C and I had played Star Wars Galaxies over the summer, and he is like, Noble, look at this game. And I'm like, what is this game? He's like, this is World of Warcraft, we should totally play it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Play another game over the summer. We just spent an entire summer playing MMORPG together. I don't know if I want to make that kind of time investment. And then he shows me this trailer. And I was not familiar with Blizzard or Warcraft franchise. Like, we played LAN StarCraft once or twice. I've seen him play Diablo 2 at that point. And then this cutscene rolls out. This cutscene rolls out. This is what sold me on playing WoW. This right here. I just realized that she looks at a broken sword. How has that never been registered in my head before? I thought she looked at her own dagger. And she's looking at a broken sword. Cool. It's amazing how long this cutscene actually still holds up. Like this, you could release this today, and it would just be fine. World of Warcraft. Like this cutscene just, this trailer is what sold me on the idea of, this actually sounds really, really cool. So it starts off with a big lore dump for those who had played Warcraft 3. Like it continues on the story of Warcraft 3, right? But what got me was looking at this part. This part with the dwarf over these snowy mountains. And I was like, this looks so sick. If this is the game, what the fuck are we talking about, right? So by the time that I come into the game, Mr. C had already chosen a human mage. So my faction was easily chosen. Again, I knew nothing about the Alliance of the Horde. If I did, I would have probably gone for the Horde. Like, if I had known about the history of Thrall and the formation of the Horde, I'd gone Horde. If I'd known the, the history behind it, most definitely Horde. But, yeah, we went Alliance. And going Alliance, from the cutscene, I had set my sights on I'm going to be playing a dwarf, right? But then I was reading the class descriptions on the character creation screen, and I was like, oh, Night Elves, they get a wisp. You'll be moving faster when you're dead. That's actually really dope. So that's the one I picked, not knowing that a human mage and a Night Elf hunter will not see each other for a very long time. So I started playing WoW all by myself instead of with my buddy, and they had to do the whole wetlands run in order to pick us up. But let me tell you, I will never forget the day that I realized that WoW was more than just a green-ass tree and a beach. And that snowy city of Idaforge was actually a thing, and Meniful Harbor. The game felt so big. It, like, must have taken like 30 minutes to an hour to get there. And you see like a change of scenery as you walk through it. It felt so fucking big. And to realize, like, oh, there's actually a whole new section to this game with snowy area and this and that. Wild. Absolutely wild. And there's no recreating that experience ever again, because it's your first time playing the game, ain't it? Another thing of this cutscene is that why I thought Hunter was going to be so cool was because in the cutscene, as they do like the whole fade out, right? And they go back to battle. What they do is they have the bear fight with the Tauren. And I thought that meant that the enemy players would have to fight off my animal first before they could reach the hunter. Now, that's not how the clause worked, obviously. But that's how I had it. I was like, oh, that's going to be a benefit. And one little detail that I always like when I look back at this belt, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure my hunter used this belt. There was a belt in Classic WoW that you could use, and it had an on-use effect. It would heal you for like 80 health or something. It was kind of but there was a belt, and I'm pretty sure that this is the belt. For the life of me, I don't know its name, but there was an on-use belt that you could use yourself to heal with, and it looked like this belt. So I'm pretty sure that's the mage using, but, you know, don't quote me on it. But yeah, like, again, this cutscene, the test of time shows that it's just an absolute classic, pun intended. Warlock was very cool. Simple, effective. It doesn't show a whole lot of the gameplay, but I don't think we really look at Warcraft cutscenes in order for it to show off the gameplay. And I mean, it sold me on playing WoW, so obviously Classic goes into the S tier. That was amazing. 10 out of 10. That's where I put the Classic cutscene, alright? Classic blew me out of the water. My first character was a Night Elf male hunter called Noblenel. And later, I turned it into a female character because I realized that the Night Elf male character's teeth looked horrible. And people reacted differently to female characters in the raid, which I was like, you know, I need all the advantage I can get. I never roleplayed or pretended to be a girl, but for some reason, people reacted differently to girl characters in the game. I don't make the rules. And ever since then, I got used to the models, and now I just roll with the female characters. But yeah, Noblenel, my very first Night Elf hunter. And eventually I took a break with Classic because Burning Crusade was coming up, and I wasn't a big fan of Hellfire Peninsula. But with the Burning Crusade, they did the whole Alliance getting Shamans and Horde getting Paladins, so I wanted to check out the Shamans with the Draenor, so I did that. Didn't really pull me in. I made a hunter again called Angelicus, which I ran, you know, Dire Maul with, and I did a couple of things. Burning Crusade didn't really pull me in, but that might be spoilers, because that is, of course, the second cutscene that we're looking up. Burning Crusade intro cutscene. And again, I want to reiterate, I knew nothing about Warcraft 3 up to this point. Still, lore newbie. I don't know anything. And this cutscene must have meant a lot for those that did.
Imprisoned for 10,000 years. Banished from my own homeland. And now you dare enter my realm. You are not prepared.
Would I play Horde retroactively? 100%. Yeah. If I knew what I knew now, I would have 100% rolled for the Horde. Yes. Yeah, if only, right? So again, they do like the lore dump at the beginning, because if you are familiar with the Warcraft lore at this point, then you know that Illidan is an Outland. So this for you is like, oh shit, it's Illidan, right? And they do a very similar thing as what they do with the classic cutscene. Marat, yo, what up? Such an underappreciated character, Marat is. But this looks so cool. And then this, the Blood Elves entering the Horde. I wonder how many people joined Warcraft purely because of this. We can now play the Pretty Elves. Because you gotta remember, the Horde was like, the Horde! We are manly Horde! And then they got the Pretty Elves, and everybody started to play the Pretty Elves. Fucking Illidan Stormrage, man. Illidan Stormrage is the king of one-liners. Like, you are not prepared is so ingrained into culture, right? The hammer is such... Oh, man, when he puts it on his shoulder, like, just speaking of the quality of the cutscene, when he puts it on his shoulder, you can tell, like, shit, there is some actual weight behind that hammer. And then when he swings with it, is like, oh shit, bashing in skulls left and right. It's really, really well done. Now this, of course, like I said, they've done a lot with this cutscene connected to the classic cutscenes. And they didn't have to do much more. They're more like, this is the first expansion that they do for World of Warcraft. And it's basically an improvement upon the first one. Like, they knew more what they were doing. A bit more references to the game. Like, being sheeped. Oh, look, the Murlocs that would wipe anyone out. Can you, like, look, we have grown in strength. Like, you gotta recognize that they were so in touch with what the player base was doing. Like, how many memes did we not have about the Murlocs coming out of the waters? You pulled multiple ones and you're one-shotted. But here, we got this epically geared warlock walking through the swamp and is not even caring about these Murlocs anymore. We have grown. This is not the classic times anymore, baby. We are going to Outlands. And of course, also the commercials in touch. But, like, the commercials were done in such a way. There was, like, a boss. And there were, like, these Blood Elf co-workers working with it. But then for the ranking, now I don't know, like it does what classic does, but again, I wasn't a big fan of the Burning Crusade. And what happens in the cutscene, it looks gorgeous, it stands the test of time, but I need to make a distinction here somewhere. So for me, the Burning Crusade goes on a I like that. Yeah. It's at least an A, if not an S. Really? I mean, or I really like that. Where do I want to put it? I really liked it. Because okay, so I need to visualize for myself, like, where would I put the others? I might change my mind. But for me, I'm going to be putting it on I like it at this point. Just the intro cinematic. Now, this is not... I've rated expansions before. I've also rated end cinematics before. This is purely based on intro cinematic. How much did I like that going in there? Not even considering how the rest of the expansion goes, because that wouldn't be fair for the Shadowlands, right? Purely for... Okay, what do I feel with this intro cutscene? So for me so far, Classic... I really love Classic. It's the one who sold me on the game. It's the one that got me in. But this one, like, I didn't have that connection to Illidan. I fucking hated Outland. And what does the cutscene do? Yeah, it does what the classic did, but I was already, by that point, I was taking a break. So for me, as this is my tier list, and you can all play along, okay, but this is my tier list, I like that. And then after Burning Crusade, I am still a lore newbie. I have still not picked up Warcraft 3. Yeah, do it, damsel. And here comes something dramatically that's gonna change everything forever. It's not the intro cutscene, by the way. It's the Wrathgate cutscene. The Wrathgate cutscene is the one that got me into the lore and that got me invested into like, okay, what the f is going on? But the Wrathgate is not the intro cutscene. The intro cutscene is this unknown character that I've never seen before. But I have heard about him, because there were rumors going around about how you were going to make a Death Knight, and you would have to, like, give up your leveled character. Hang on, needs to start, needs to begin. Nope, haven't touched Warcraft 3 at this point. Nope. That would come with this.
My son. The day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas.
God, the lore was strong. Just a few notes of a song invokes so much emotion.
My child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness. Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power. Truest victory, my son, is stirring the hearts of your people. I tell you this, for when my days have come to an end, you shall be king.
Man, oh 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 man. What this, the quality of this will, So, again, I wasn't into the lore back then, but I am massively into the lore now. So, to see, like, for me, when I first watched this, it's like, ah, cool. Like, I've been told about the Lich King, so it just looked cool. And it wasn't until much later that I realized that the dragon he resurrects is actually Sindragosa, the one that you fight in Ice Crown. And then you learn about Sindragosa's history and like what it all means, that it brings it back and all that. But even on face value, I remember that this just looks fucking gorgeous. The music in the background invokes such emotions. And knowing the story now, with his father narrating to him and the parallels drawn between... He's talking to his son as to how he was alive and the people of Lordaeron. It's like, you will stir the heart of your people. And there's like an undead army being forced to obey the Lich King's will. Not to mention, of course, like for those that were in Warcraft 3 back in the day... This is the continuation. This is where you left Arthas upon the top of Icecrown at the end of Warcraft 3. And it picks up the story where you left him. I mean, quality-wise, it looks phenomenal. Music, it looks great. Cinematography, like this pose, this freaking Lich King pose has been done like 5 times after this in other cutscenes. That's how much they love it. Like, swing! So, where does one rank this? Well, you're gonna be surprised about this one. I was watching this and I was like, that was amazing. But I kind of feel, like this deserves its own SS rank. Like this, like, you know, this is where this is what the bar is. All right, this is top tier. Yeah, for me, this is it. Look at it. It's awesome. It's foundational. It's generational. It's... Lich King is just like, you know... It's hard to beat. It's just iconic. But they kept the dragon theme going. And now I was getting a little bit more into the lore. As I said, the Wrath Gate is what kicked me into it. But I gotta admit, I wasn't massively familiar with Deathwing's lore. And let me tell you, this cutscene had me like, huh? Was I supposed to know about this guy? What? Pain. Yeah, we're talking cinematic only, 100% Landra. Yeah. Just the intro cutscene, yeah.
Agony. My hatred burns through the cavernous deeps.
This shot right here is so good.
But at last, the whole of Azeroth will break.
Beneath the shadows of my wings.
All will burn beneath the shadow of my wings.
Get it? That's why they call him Shadowwing. Oh, wait. Alright. Okay, so this one is hard to rate, man. Okay, Deathwing, right. I didn't know a whole lot about Deathwing, and even after doing research about Deathwing, there were bits and pieces, but Deathwing is a little bit, you know, if you just look at the face value of the game, I'm trying to remember if there was massively a mention of Deathwing even before this, but he became like the big bad. They were like, you know what, he's been hiding underneath the world, and he's coming back in, and they were explaining it. Like this was gonna happen next. Okay, cool. We got a Deathwing. The cinematic itself looks cool. It looks very painful. It's like, okay, what exactly is happening here? They're putting a dragon back together. All right, what happened to this dragon? There's a little bit of intrigue. There's a little bit of what's happening here. But as I was watching this, what I really like about this cutscene is how much of an impact it actually had on the real world. Like, it shows off the transformation of the world with the Cataclysm. And these places that they show in the cinematic were massively changed in the open world. But they also show Deathwing flying with, like, the fire burning beneath him. And that was part of the whole pre-event, with, like, Deathwing blazing across the world, instantly one-shotting you. You would get an achievement for it. Makes you wonder why he didn't just do that everywhere. But, you know, let's not think about it too much. And then that last bit with him showing up in Stormwind, putting his claws down, and, like, tearing those statues, right? That actually happened in game as well. Like, Stormwind was transformed. It took them forever in order to actually fix the park again. And to be fair, they did hang up the heads of his children and go like, nah, 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 nah. So it's not entirely surprising that Devon would show up there. The Goblin Smiths rebuilding him. Twilight Hammer, if I remember right. The Goblins, orcs were the Twilight Hammer, and they follow the will of the old gods and Deathwing, if I recall right, Landra. Hence why he was like recovering in Deep Home, and they were fixing him. I think it's I think it's a place like the Stone Core, but I would have to double check that one. Yeah. Were they not goblins? I thought they were goblins. Like, they fixed his plating to make it adamantium, right? Where do we see people? It's the Stone Core. Yeah, okay, there you go. Maybe orcish humans? Hang on. What are you? You look lizard. Lizard. I have never, he has a third leg. The person in the background has they have a third leg. Look. Or is that their cape? Oh, it's the cape, I think. It's like the tabard. Oh, okay. It's the tabard. I'm gonna say that these are Twilight Hammer members. And why did that have to be put together? So... Oh, work brain. This is the Cataclysm. Go back in time. Cataclysm, when was the last time that defeated him? Was that Day of the Dragon? It's probably going to be Day of the Dragon, wasn't it? So Day of the Dragon was... Okay, so... Deathwing lore was mainly in the books, right? And for the boy Deathwing, it was very much about the Dragon Soul. So the War of the Ancients, he tried to use the Dragon Soul, but Deathwing's corruption came bursting forth. Like, that whole corruption on the inside now was on the outside. And so they had to figure out a way to, like, okay, how are we going to keep myself together while wielding the Dragon Soul? And so they put up, like, plates in order to keep him together, right? And then he, many years later, like 10,000 years later, he starts dealing with the orcs on Azeroth. And at this point, the first invasion already happened. The Horde was defeated. They were thrown into internment camps. But the orcs still on Draenor were like, well, we're kind of... because our planet is still dying, we're still corrupted, what do we do now? And they came up with the plan of, let's go back to Azeroth, and we'll get like a bunch of artifacts, and we could use those artifacts to create more portals to different worlds. And they did. And on Azeroth, they got in touch with Deathwing, who was like, hey, orcs, nice to meet you, my name's Deathwing, listen, got a deal for you. You take some of my X into your lands, I will help you get one of those relics that you want. Fair play, fair play. So they help Deathwing out. They take his X with them. And on Draenor, we have the Alliance of Lordaeron. So we got like a Khadgar, a Kurdran, Illyria, Trellian, Dunoff. The Alliance of the Sons of Lothar have stepped through the Dark Portal in order to stop the Horde from doing this ever again. And Khadgar and crew are fighting with Deathwing in the... not the Burning Steps. It is called Bladespire's Edge. We now call it Bladespire Edge. And that's where they have to fight with Deathwing and his kids and the X. And Khadgar, who needed the Skull of Gul'dan that Deathwing had in his hands in order to shut down the Dark Portal and do all kinds of things, he was like, oh no, how do I fight against the Deathwing? And then Khadgar was like super smart and he was like, oh shit, if I take away the bolts, then we could take away the plates and Deathwing will have no other choice but to retreat. And he was right. And so Deathwing had to fly away. And they won. And it was great. But then there was the part about... Deathwing wanted more children. but he couldn't reproduce because his mates kept dying because he was like this massive corrupted beastie. So he came up with the idea of, I'm gonna use Alexstrasza's eggs. And he already had like an old scheme with Alexstrasza being enslaved by the Dragomar orcs. And so he started sending them visions like, hey, the Alliance is coming for you. You better get out of your mountain. And then he started to help Ronin with his mission of saving Alexstrasza from her enslavement. And then that all came together in a book called Day of the Dragon, where Ronin and Verisa got together. Who's Verisa, you might ask? She's like the Forgotten Windrunner sister. And in that book, they actually open up the Dragon Soul, and they give the powers back to the other aspects, who then attack Deathwing, and they send him running. And I think that's the last time we saw Deathwing. There might have been an interference in between with Kirin Tor, but I think that was like the last time we saw Deathwing. And ever since then, he's been like hiding on the ground, recovering his power and shit. And that's here where we see him like the malice and like the hatred and all the good stuff. They put like bigger plates on Deathwing to keep it together, and they updated it to adamantium because of that whole Khadgar thing, because of the whole, you know, aspects put him. It's basically upgrades, and Deathwing himself became more and more corrupted, and it went even further in the Cataclysm itself, as the old god N'Zoth, who was like signing his paychecks and infusing it with more and more power. They, like what we saw him at the end, like with the tentacles and shit. So I think that's why they had to rebuild him, because he just got his ass kicked a couple of times. Oh, thank you, Eric. I thought they retconned the Red Flag Orc Slave thing. Nah. They did blame Garrosh for it at some point, which was weird, because he allied with the Dragomar clan. But nah, that's still part of it. It has been used, and it's more in the trends of Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder, is like, yeah, it happened. But there's also good orcs, so, you know, it happens. But all that said, back to the whole, how do we rank the Cataclysm cutscene? I mean, I liked it. Did I like it more than the Burning Crusade trailer? Not really. I think they're kind of on par for me in my mind. Yeah. Wasn't as good as the... No. I liked it. Yeah. I'll put it on a... I like that. Good job. Right. So, after the Cataclysm... followed... What happened to follow? Was that Mr. Pandaria? God, was that Mr. Pandaria? Yes, because Raffion flew away and he was like, alright, thank you for hanging out. I gotta go to Mr. Pandaria now. Oh, Mr. Pandaria.
To ask why we fight is to ask why the leaves fall. It is in their nature. Perhaps there is a better question.
Good lord, man. What is your workout program? Teach me. You as well. Like, it's not even because it's an orc. Look at this, man. Look at this. 600 grams of protein. Jesus. Look at his chest, like, what?
Why do we fight? To protect home and family. To preserve balance and bring harmony. For my kind, the true question is, what is worth fighting for?
Oh, Pandaria, my beloved. Pandaria, my absolute beloved. So I'm really trying to not let the expansion itself influence myself here, but I think I have fair arguments to be made. Is it fair? Is it, like, I love the environment, but am I wrong in saying that the style is a complete Kung Fu Panda ripoff? No. No, not at all. A lot of people who saw this announcement were like, okay, Kung Fu Panda, what? But me, I saw this and I was like, ooh, Kung Fu Panda. I fucking love Kung Fu Panda. And what I really like about this cutscene, about this intro cinematic, is that it encompasses Pandaria so perfectly in such a short moment. We see the remnants of the faction war that would eventually flow into Pandaria. It's a big catalyst of the conflict that begins. We bring over the faction war, this flows into the Shah, and eventually, after learning what the story is on Pandaria, it will go back into the faction war, Alliance versus Horde. And that's where it starts off with. And then we see the interception of the Pandaren into this Alliance and Horde conflict. We see this ancient war that we've seen playing out battles time and time again. Only this time, there's the interception of the Pandaren. And when they do, when they jump in, the difference in music and style... Silence into... bouncy, more energetic, more active. The music encompasses what the Pandaren are to me, and it's Chen Stormstout here leading the battle, and is like fucking dancing on these veteran Alliance and Horde warriors, using their own strength against them. Even this moment, as somebody also pointed out in chat, like this moment, this hammer is like a treasure you can find in the game. It's one of the relics, like this is where the cutscene played out. And then the Alliance and Horde, as they always do, they hold on to the conflicts, but they can't take on this panda. And eventually, Chen, as Mr. Pandaria itself does with the cutscene, or with the game itself, Chen pardons the mist, reveals Pandaria, and our next adventure that's coming forth with the philosophical question, like, okay, what is worth fighting for? Like, our people, why do we fight? The Alliance and the Horde. And for me, this intro cutscene encompasses Pandaria in such a way, it's so tightly packed and it tells so much, and it just gives the absolute perfect vibe. To which I'm watching this and I'm like, where do I rate this? Where do I rank this? And I come to realize that originally I was like, that was amazing, right? 10 out of 10. But I like it better than the classic one. So I'm gonna be putting it right next to Wrath the Lich King. That's right, Heresy. Heresy. But I love it. I'm like, I fucking love it. What? I know. I love the mob cutscene, and like, what am I supposed to bring down here? Like, it's not the same. Don't get me wrong, just because I love them both is not like it's the same. Wrath of the Lich King invokes heavy emotional tones, whereas Pandaria just makes me happy looking at it. Like, yes, fuck it, Pandaria. I love Pandaria. It was a C tier for me. It's fine. I know, like, was I excited? I know a lot of people are like, was it for me? Nah. But like I said, I've given my arguments as to why I like it and why I love it, and that's where I'm going to be putting it. And like I said, you want to make your own tier list, you make your own tier list. And I'm really trying not to let like the rest of the expansion influence my opinion on things. But like I said, I got arguments. You know. Maybe put it with the classic, maybe. I mean, I was looking and I was like, I like this more than the classic one. So since I only have one tier above the classic one, there we go. Do I like it as much as Wrath? Yeah, just for different reasons. So there we go. Ha! Next up, after Pandaria, we did Draenor. We did Warlords of Draenor, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Warlords of Draenor. Oh. Blizzard Entertainment presents. 30 years ago, 35 even.
Drink, Hellscream. Claim your destiny. You will all be conquerors. And what, kIl'jaeden, must we give in return?
And here comes Gul'dan, Master Manipulator.
Everything.
Yeah, don't hide it or anything.
Reject this gift. And did you bring these mongrels here?
Around the corner, alright.
Just to watch you die.
I can't imagine what this must have been like for those that just are not in the lore.
This was not our destiny. Times change. We will never be slaves! But we will be conquerors.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. It's a movie on its own, ain't it? So I think it speaks a lot to the quality of this cutscene that people got hyped, even though nobody understood what the fuck was going on with the lore. Like, what do you mean 35 years ago? Why is Garrosh all of a sudden there? What is happening here? But for lore lovers, like, they did quite a bit of, I mean, not at that point, but they would eventually quite a bit extensive work on to explain alternate realities and time travel, but it was a confusing time. It was a time in which my YouTube channel kind of grew a lot because I was explaining to people like, this is what's going on. It was a great time for business, let me tell you. But in this moment, the cutscene itself is just pure epicness. And on face value, as I'm trying to look at this, like on face value, what you're looking at is just epicness unfold. Like a big battle, explosions, one-liners, that on the surface is there. But if you know what's going on, This is a pivotal moment for the orcs, right? In our timeline, this is where the orcs accepted the demonic blood and they enslaved themselves to the Burning Legion. And this time around, thanks to Garrosh traveling back in time to an alternate reality, he is able to stop this moment from happening. He warns his father, not really his father, but he warns Gromash about Gul'dan's manipulations, even though Gul'dan is not exactly shy about it. But he warns him, and he's like, in the shadows, there's the Legion, there's Manoroth. If you will reject this gift, so-and-so might happen, we need to prepare. And everything plays out as Garrosh predicted. And the moment Manoroth is like, oh, you're here to die, Garrosh is like, nah, what up, f***ers? I brought technology from the future. I cast Fireball. And so they cast Fireball. And I remember live tweeting this as well, where just the way that this cutscene played out, where it's like, oh shit, we are prepared for this, but then something goes wrong, and it's like Manoroth shoots back, and then what I really, really love, and this is a moment that I will forevermore appreciate. Garrosh looks at his not dad, and then this shot happens. A remake of Warcraft 3, where in Warcraft 3, when Gromash struck down Manoroth, he was caught by the blast. This is what killed Garrosh's father. Only this time, times change. He catches his dad out of the blast. He goes to Gul'dan, drops a sick one-liner.
Times change.
And it's just, mwah. It's a fucking movie at this point. Regardless as to how the expansion played out, this got me harder than nobody's business. And it was so, like, this pose, iconic. Last speech.
We will never be slaves! But we will be conquerors.
Was there a quest in the pre-patch to explain how he escaped? No, Eric, that was the fun part. They didn't explain Garrosh escaping trial. So you gotta imagine, Mr. Pandaria ends. Garrosh is put on trial. That's never explained in the game further. And then Draenor happens, and we got the pre-event. The Dark Portal turned red, and we got Warlord Xal'atath taking over UBRS, and we got a pre-event. We go into Draenor, where all of a sudden there's this Iron Horde, and yada yada yada. It's not until I think the max level questline with Chromie that you find out what happened to Kairos, and that Garrosh was able to set himself free. If you did not read the novel War Crimes, you would not know what happened to Garrosh. Yeah, it's in the book War Crimes until that last ending questline. Yeah, 100%. And that is an issue that we've had before with the Cataclysm as well, where all of a sudden Karen's dead, and Karen's death is in a book, and Magni is a crystal, and Magni's crystallization is in a book. So yeah, the questline isn't even available anymore. Nice. But just this cutscene, not talking about the expansion itself. Like S tier easily, but do I like it more than classic? Yes, I do. So it's gonna take its part next to Mist, and it's gonna take its part next to Wrath of the Lich King. It speaks to my heart, and I'm just sitting there like a wee lad looking at the cool explosions and the big men fighting each other and the one-liners and like the calling backs to Warcraft 3, and I'm just like, yes, please. I will take this. I told you, I'm very positive about the intro cutscenes. Very positive. After Warlords, we go into Legion. Can't separate my thoughts about the expansion from trailer. I mean, that's fair, right? That's fair. I'm sure I'm also a bit influenced by what comes after, 100%. Like, there's no way of completely disconnected from it. I just fucking love that cutscene so much. Here we go, Legion!
My son, a terrible darkness has returned to our world. As before, it seeks to annihilate everything that we hold dear. I go to face it, knowing I may not return.
They're coming!
All my life I have lived by the sword. I've seen kingdoms burn, and watched brave heroes die in vain.
Madsen's narration, though. It's a shame that I hear Madsen and not Varian, but
It's
damn.
been difficult for me to trust after losing so much. But from you, I have learned patience, tolerance, and faith.
In Sylvanas, though! In Sylvanas! Are you sure, Varian?
Open fire!
Well, here we go. Bye, everybody. Rip Varian, rip Sylvanas. Was nice while it lasted.
Anduin, I now believe, as you do, that peace is the noblest aspiration. But to preserve it, you must be willing to fight.
So, after the banger, it was summer 2016. Holy shit, it's nearly 10 years ago. Anyways, after the banger of Warlords, I was thinking about Legion. And I was thinking, like, surely I don't like the Legion one. Because I remember Legion is like a lot of talking and like this and that. But looking back at it, I really like the quality of Legion, and I really appreciate the idea of, you know, you're flying into the gates of hell. Even the demons that fly back at us make like demonic sounds, right? Gates of hell, going in there.
Open fire!
These guttural screams as they fly in. And just this whole battle that plays out. And then, of course, as they crash, right? Where he finishes the speech that he's been doing. This compass we would also find later in the game. But he like finishes his speech and he like throws off his cape and you must be willing to fight. It is very much about Varian's character journey, as in the hothead that we had him in the past, listening more to Anduin, his son, and finding the balance, the Grand King? the High King of the Alliance that he was meant to be, where not just for the Alliance here on the battlefield, but as he yells out, I know that
For Azeroth!
Not just for the Alliance, but for Azeroth, we're here on the Broken Shore with Sylvanas. And I also really like Sylvanas' special sound effects for the bow. They have weight. Just listen to like the weapon effects. Sick. I really like. Feels like there's more weight behind her arrows, so that's all cool. But for me, the one thing that does stand out is like, okay, Sylvanas on the other ship. Like, what do you mean we're trusting Sylvanas now? But this was, I mean, partially because Sylvanas sells more, I guess, than Vol'jin. Because you gotta remember, like, Vol'jin is war chief. Why is Vol'jin not in the main trailer, right? But I'm wondering if this is also where they had in mind, like, where they wanted to take Sylvanas and make her the war chief at this point, and for what goal, for what design, I do not know. But I do recall, like, Sylvanas as, like, on the box art, on the selling cutscene, what is that all about? And what do you mean, I have learned to trust Sylvanas? I'm pretty sure if there's anyone amongst the Horde that we do not trust, it's fucking Sylvanas. But no. From you, Enduin, I've learned to be a real dumbass, and I trust Sylvanas. It's okay. And on the Broken Shore, we're fighting together. Trust Sylvanas more than Gallywix. That's true, but they don't put Gallywix on the boat, now do they? And no one gave a damn about Vol'jin since the very beginning. I mean, I fucking love Vol'jin. I love the idea of Vol'jin becoming a war chief with his book accompanying it for in that role. And how little they gave him to do in Warlords. I had high hopes for Vol'jin. I thought that was like, for me, pushing Sylvanas into the spotlight and making her the focus point. That is where it started to crumble, because someone like Sylvanas does not do well in the light. Like, she is in the background. She's in the shadow. She's doing whatever it takes to get things done, not lead the Horde into some sort of great destiny, right? But then, okay, looking at this cutscene, where would I rank it? I mean, amazing. I really liked it, is where I would put it down. Did I like it as much as Classic? I mean, it's definitely up there, right? It's different reasons. Same with how these top 3 are, like, for different reasons why I like them, but it's definitely up there. Yeah. And from Legion, we go into Battle for Azeroth. Yes? Yes. Hang on. Battle for Azeroth. So Legion ends with Sargeras stabbing the world, and Varian is now dead. His son Enduin is taken over. Vol'jin is dead. Sylvanas is taken over. And it is time for a good old war in my Warcraft.
Ours is a cycle of hatred. Alliances forged and broken. We have paid the price for sharing this world. And we have forgotten what makes us strong.
Close ranks! Advance has won! Lordaeron will be ours! My king, we have her cornered.
You think so, Gen? You think so?
Keep firing!
She seems so insulted that they're firing back. Not Sour Fang, you bastards! Goosebumps from that. Even though I know exactly where this goes, I still get goosebumps, man. Jesus. This must have been a sight for the Horde, though. Do you think they turned around?
As one! For the Alliance!
Do you think they looked at each other and like, are we the bad guys? That's a lot of light over. Are we the bad guys? She did all the darkness. He does all the light. Okay, so I am desperately trying not to let the knowledge of the lore influence me, because we're judging the cutscenes as is. But I can't help but there's a voice in the back of my mind is like, this would have worked for something else than the story that you were telling at the time. Because what do you mean Sylvanas for the Horde? What is happening? As well as, like, this happened after the burning of Teldrassil, and I'm trying to remember if this was already, if burning of Teldrassil was already out when this was out, and I think it was. But that's not fair, because we are judging them as is. And for that, I will question the Sylvanas talking about at the beginning.
Ours is a cycle of hatred. Alliances forged and broken. We have paid the price for sharing this world. And we have forgotten what makes us strong.
What does that mean? Because we gotta remember, this followed Legion, yes. Legion, where the Alliance and Horde refused to work together, and only thanks to the classes coming together in their order halls, did we manage to survive the world. We once again, as we learn in every fucking expansion, that working together as are strong, not working together as are bad. So what does she mean with saying we have forgotten what makes us strong? What does that mean, Sylvanas? You seem to be just spewing out words now. I don't get you. What do you mean? But beyond that, the cinematic, I cannot help but think that this is one of the more grandeur, detailed cinematics that they've ever done. Because the siege weaponry, the battles, trying to pull the victims away from the battlefield, Saurfang, the little detail of Saurfang hitting Anduin with the blunt of his blade, because later on he would go like, yeah, I was hoping that you could fix it. Sylvanas yelling for the Horde, coming out of that vape. Fucking epic. And then even Anduin was given, like, you gotta remember, the Alliance has no cool catchphrases. They spend years trying to think for a cool catchphrase for the Alliance, whereas the Horde had for the Horde, and they were like, what do we do? What do we do? We don't know what to do for the Alliance. And after years,
Stand
years,
as one!
they found it!
For the Alliance!
It was so simple! Who could have thought that for the Alliance could just as well work as for the Horde? Nah! Fucking mind blown, mate! I kid you not. I talked about this in my Faction Pride video, where they're sitting there with Metzen and Avrajabi, and he's like, yeah, we'll get back to you when you find out. Like, the Alliance was taking the piss out of until they realized, like, oh, we actually have two factions that play this game. It's a whole thing. But this, like Anduin as well, like, you gotta remember, like, Anduin was never the fighter. And there was a big question as to, okay, why is Anduin not able to wield a sword? And it's because of his father's death that he took his training more seriously. And so now we see him fighting on the battlefield. But still, he is sluggish and he is fighting. And Anduin is a wielder of the light. He is one that does not inflict pain. He is one that tries to heal it. That's always how his character's been. So in the midst of a massive battlefield, he looks around and he sees the soldiers and he's like, ah, shit. And he calls out to the light to heal them. And he is Anduin. It's just... there's a lot of subtext, a lot of levels there. And the same for Sylvanas. I just wish that Sylvanas got a different storyline. But that is not fair to this trailer. I cannot go like, Sylvanas should have gotten a different storyline, so therefore this trailer is getting a lower score. It is an awesome trailer. I think it's gorgeously well done. And I'm going to put it up there with... for me, it deserves a place amongst... I cannot, because I'm not allowed to use the story in order to bring it down, okay? So I get it. I give it a... there you go. It was a wonderful, wonderful intro cutscene. It's just the story that followed was So, you know. After Battle for Azeroth, what do we get? We get Shadowlands. 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 So, Battle for Azeroth played out. Sylvanas revealed herself as actually being in league with the Jailer all along. And she vapes out and is like, the Horde is nothing, Sourfang is dead, and an armistice is signed between the Alliance and the Horde, except Thrawn is like, nah, I will claim the Banshee Queen's head.
Ice Crown. A monument to our suffering. The veil between life and death. Where a usurper sits on a frozen throne. But no king rules forever.
My heart just hurts, but that's because I know what comes after. I'm so trying to just enjoy this for the moment that it is. This was f***ing epic. He engages more the necromantic abilities instead of just the dragon's fire. Ah. Sound effects during this is sick. Rock to the face. Here, take one back.
Unfit to wear this crown. To wield so much power.
That power will be your prison.
This world is a prison.
Hey Bolvar, remember when you said there must always be a Lich King? Remember when you sacrifice yourself to sit on the throne? How does it feel now, buddy? How does it feel now? Wait, we could do that?
And I will set us all free.
Shadowlands. Shadowlands. Alright, so in my mind, I actually remembered that battle to be way more epic than it actually plays out, because they just kind of throw rocks at each other, and that's about it. But I do remember the impact of this battle, because we gotta remember, we've seen Sylvanas versus the Lich King before, back in Wrath of the Lich King, where she had to run for her life. She could not stand up against him. Then we saw her do her Super Duper Blast in Battle for Azeroth against Sourfang, where Thrall already warned him, like, you do not stand a chance against Sylvanas. We knew she was getting powered up. And then here, we see her go toe-to-toe with Bolvar the Lich King. Now, there was also the part about Bolvar not fully wanted to give in to the powers of the Lich King compared to like an Arthas, right? Like Bolvar tried to maintain it and he did not fully want to give in. But still, Sylvanas is dancing circles around him and it led to the idea of, okay, what the heck's happening here with Miss Windrunner? How come she is so powerful, right? And what I really love about this cutscene is, I mean, the one-liners are fine. They didn't eventually go anywhere, but the one-liners are, like, intriguing. It's like, oh, this world is a prison, what do you mean? But what I really love about this cutscene, my favorite bit, my absolute favorite bit, is right here. Is when she looks at the crown, and we, at this point, I remember that, like, Bolvar Blue was spoiled by the Blizzard Store, but we didn't know what was going on. There was rumors about Sylvanas becoming the Lich Queen herself. And then we get to this shot. And we get here. And I remember watching the cutscene. I was like, there's no fucking way. There is no fucking way that they will do it, right? That she will actually put the crown on her head. Because that's kind of where she's going. And then it's like, no, hang on a minute. She is pondering. She is waiting. What's she doing? Bam! What do you mean she is fracturing the crown? What? You can do that? That's allowed? And then she rips the sky open. So that moment was fucking sick. So I really, like, regardless of the expansion that followed, I do like those bits. But the choreography, like I said, in my mind, the battle between Bolvar and Lich King, Bolvar and Sylvanas was better than it actually played out. But this also this moment, like where Bolvar takes the flames, the red flames, and turns them necromantic, like blue, and he like taps into the powers of the Lich King. Ah, come on. That was fucking sick. I just wish that they'd done more with it, but I can't blame the cutscene for that one. All that said, I'm gonna be putting this one as the first I really liked it. Did I like it more than Black Temple and Deathwing? Yes. Did I like it more than Classic and Legion? No. So I'm gonna be putting it, I really like that. I'm gonna be putting it there. Yes. That's my choice right there. Yes. VC Cata and Orange and have this in the middle. Yeah, for me, that's the issue. Like, for me, the Burning Crusade cutscene just doesn't do that much. But that's also in the time period that it was. It's also because I took a break with the Burning Crusade. And as much as I try, like, not to influence the cutscenes, right? If that cutscene would have blown me out of the water, I would imagine I would play it WoW more. But that might, you know what I mean? And as, of course, per usual with all these tier lists, it's all down to taste, ain't it? So, from Shadowlands, we go into Dragonflight. And Dragonflight did something interesting. Dragonflight did 2 cutscenes. They were like, oh, okay, the first one, that's not good enough. We're gonna do 2. And it's a good thing, because I have high opinions about both of them. Let's begin with the first one. And will Sylvanas return? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty certain that she will. Okay, here we go. TBC cutscene saves vanilla? Yeah, basically. Basically. Dragonflight. Oh yeah. $10,000 years ago, the most important moment in Warcraft's history, the War of the
world
Ancients.
has been sundered. It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers. Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes.
I really like.
You will feel our return in the waking of the land.
I really like reading
Then
as I'm.
you must light the beacon of Tierhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
I really like reading chat as I'm forming my mind, and I'm like, especially when my mindset is different than what chat is flying around. I'm like, yeah, okay, I like this. I like how the response to something can be so very different. Whoa! That was a good nap. Brother! What happened to your face? Oh! My friendo! My brother! Doing good? We're rating intro cutscenes. Aww. Also dead. Womp womp. Oh no, the system's broken. Whatever will we do? Give up. No, I won't give up. I did it. I can sleep now. But wait, Alexstrasza was waiting around the corner all along. Either that or she can fly Mach 10. One of the two. One of the two. Music score is fantastic, I will say.
The world is healing. but her fate is yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Rar. That means I love you in Dragonflight. Yeah. You play throughout the entire expansion and you still don't know what it means for the world is healing. Yeah, that's a good question. So, the way that I took it, right, is the expansion explains the War of the Ancients happens and the land sunders apart. So they hide away the Dragon Isles. Alright, hide away the Dragon Isles. And then when the time comes, the Dragon Isles, they will wake up and they will reveal. So, somewhere, the land started to heal. But here's my thing, because you can tell me that the land started to heal, but I kind of want to know why. And if you would have told me that after Battle for Azeroth the land would have healed, I would have believed you. Because we did the whole, you know, healing the wounds champion and the cleansing the sword and blah, blah, blah. But then Shadowlands happened. And in Shadowlands, I saw the jailer attacking the soul. So wouldn't that mean that the soul was more injured? But I'm guessing that the time skip, they just kind of wanted the world to be healing. Alright, the world is healing now. What does that mean? Like the elements are waking up and the island wakes up. When it comes to rating this cutscene, and again, like I said, they've done 2, which I'm very happy about. Because if it would have just been this one to not keep you in suspense, just this one. Hang on, how do I do that? Add a row below. This is boring. This was just boring. It's the boring tier. I fucking hate... this is the worst one. It's so boring to me. Like, there's nothing that happens. Nothing that happens. It's like the Tony Stoney wakes up and slowly walks to the tower. And the thing that's supposed to keep me engaged is, will he make it? But I know he will make it, because the expansion's gonna happen. So I know he's gonna make it. There's no suspense. I'm just sitting there waiting for 5 minutes for the little man to climb up the tower and activate the thing. That's all that happens. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my god. Oh, let it be over with. Like, yes, it looks nice. And the soundtrack is awesome. And it's fine. But good lord, is it boring. And like, this is supposed to sell me on the dragon. Now, admittingly, and I'm trying to not let this influence us, this follows Shadowlands, right? So I was like, I'm a hater because this follows the Shadowlands. I thought it was touching. Well, again, Damsel, I'm happy that you have different feelings because we don't have to feel the same way. But I don't know this person. This is a statue that wakes up after 10,000. I have no emotional connection to this being that is activating a tower in the slowest way possible. If he fell down the tower, I would have been happier because then at least something happened. That's what I'm saying. But this is okay. So this is the one that did it. But thankfully, like I said, they came out with another one. And that one had me way more excited. And that one cleansed my palate and it made me think like, okay, it's not just the Shadowlands inside of me. It was actually the cutscene itself. Because the second one is this one. Adventure ahoy! We can dragon ride! Yeah, man! We can dragon ride! Oh, get you next time! Oh, wall! Realize, by the way, red and blue, yeah? Representing faction in the dragons, yeah? Red for the Horde, blue for the Alliance. We're representing factions here. It's not all about family, yeah? Ah, look at the pretty dragon. Buy now the collector's edition. You too can ride this pretty dragon. And there's Razaketh, Thunder Chicken. Ah, phew, we made it out. We made it out, barely though, but we made it out. By the way, for the record, right? Can we appreciate that Thunder Chicken has like teeth down their throat? Look at that! Do not stick anything down there, okay? Drakveer, pretty as fuck. Little bit of a showcase what they can do. And now we're cruising. We're chilling. We made it through. But wait. We're not alone in the sky, are we? Oh my god, it's Alexstrasza, who has nothing better to do but just lounge with us and fly around and be like, yeah, that's right. Caw-caw! Breathing life back into the land. Alexstrasza did nothing all expansion. No, that's not true. That is not true entirely. Alexstrasza had one super confusing questline where the Queen of the Dragons could not realize or did not understand why these beings that have been on the island for 10,000 years by themselves might have a problem with the dragon aspects rolling up and be like, this is our land, give it back. To which she was like, what do you mean they started a rebellion? That's so weird. And if you ever start a rebellion again, I will eat you. Okay, Alexstrasza. So, the reason, by the way, that you're like, I don't think I've ever seen this secondary cutscene before, is because it wasn't part of the cinematic list until recently. I don't know when they added it, but they added the double Dragonflight. Dragonflight and Dragonflight to the sky, and now we also have the War Within and the War Within Shadows Beneath. So again, we got a double dipper for the War Within as well. But that commercial has been out for... It was originally a YouTube commercial. It's been out for quite a while. So, when it comes to the cutscene itself, like rating it, like I said, the first one to me was boring. And this one, at least it gave me a little bit more, like, okay, a little bit of adventure, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like, yeah, okay. Oh, I guess I'll give Dragonflight a, yeah, okay, I guess, right? Okay, I guess. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. That's where we Dragonflight we put. So we got two more left. Two more. We got the War Within, and as I said, we just got the double dose for the War Within. And we got Shadowlands. So let us begin with the War Within. Oh, sorry, did I say Shadowlands? Not again, Midnight. Sorry, Midnight. Goedemorgen, hallo. Just a little bit, Denzel. Just a little bit. Yo, what the fuck? Can you imagine the soul of your world knowing you by name? That's gotta be trippy. If I forgot.
You're here to tell me we don't get to hide. Is that it?
You needed time. We stayed away. But time by itself heals nothing.
You didn't just come here for me. It's the visions. You've seen them.
I suspect many have lately. Something, someone, is calling out from the heart of the world. Like a voice from a dream. Something dark is coming, Anduin. The world needs your light again. My son.
Lich King pose! Lich King pose!
I'm not that person anymore! I have no light. Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've done.
You are not your past, Anduin. I trust you.
Oh, I forgot the Final Fantasy ripoff. Oh.
They're getting worse. Look, whatever's coming, I'll stand with you. Of course I will. But we were drawn here by the voice. Who is it, Thrall? Who's calling out to us?
I'm not sure yet. But that sword was aimed at someone.
I forgot how much of a big deal they made about it. It gets a choir.
Was aimed at someone.
Okay. So, to the question about what is up with Anduin aiming a sword at Thrall, is he expecting him to shank him? So this is very much to Anduin's story, which is connected to the Shadowlands. So in the Shadowlands, Sylvanas did to Anduin what Arthas did to her. She forced Anduin to serve the jailer. He had like his own Mornblade. He was completely dominated. And in it, Anduin did horrible things. We don't know the entirety of his time with the jailer, but we do know that, for example, he stabbed one of the Archons. And in that moment, it was so against his character, it was so brutal, that for a moment, he was able to break himself free out of the jailer's control, witness what he was doing, and then dominate again. He has a conversation with Sylvanas, like, is this what it felt like when Arthas did this to you? Constantly, like, feeling like bits and pieces of you fading away. And Anduin, at the end of the journey in the Shadowlands, as we've released him and, you know, we fought against the jailer, he wonders to himself, I have done things I never thought myself possible. Were those things that I did, were they me or were they the jailer? Where does the line draw between being dominated and being part of it? Like, part of him felt horrendous and awful for the things he was doing, and part of it felt like reveling in it. It was awesome. It was brilliant. And that trauma of being forced to do what he didn't want to do is something that he carries with him. And up to the point where he's like worried about striking out. There was a short story, I think he stayed in Kultiras for a while. But in essence, what Anduin is doing here, like what he's talking with Thrall about, like, I'm not that man anymore, I don't have any light anymore. Anduin is afraid that he will hurt other people. He is afraid that he will be dominated again, will lose control again, that he will do things that he didn't want to do. He thought that he was a rock, that he was stable, that he was a certain person, and time has shown that he is also corruptible. And so he points his sword to Thrall in the defense maneuver, like, stay the fuck away from me, I'm not that man anymore. And if you can look at, like, his facial expression, the pain, the grief, the fear, the deep desire inside, like, I am still that man that you knew as a kid that was sitting at the trading table trying to convince Garrosh, like, you could get so much more by trading than just murdering each other. Please stay the fuck away from me, I don't want to hurt you. And Thrall, who has known him since Anduin was a boy, looks at that man in the Lich King pose, mind you, steps up to that sword with his heart at the tip of the blade, and he's like, Anduin, no matter what you've done, no matter what's in your past, I know you, I trust you with my life. There's no doubt in my mind that you are the man that I've always known you to be. You might not be perfect, you might not be infallible, but this is what you are. And this little 5-minute speech is why I think that quality-wise, this is one of the best cinematics they've ever done. The facial expressions, the vocal performance, the quality of the cutscene is insane. And I fucking despise that out of the community, the feedback to this became, Anduin needs to man up. I fucking despise it so much. But that is the feedback that people gave. Now, I will say, and it sucks that I have to say this, but I do believe this to be the thing. This is what they used in order to get people to play Warcraft. And in that regard, I'm like, this would have worked wonderfully in the middle of, like, Anduin's storytelling. It would have worked wonderfully in the middle of somewhere. But this is your business card. This is your presentation for the people, like, come play our game. And if I have to give you a 10-minute explanation as to why this is such an impactful moment between Thrall and Anduin, imagine a random person watching this. How many people dipped out of the Shadowlands and they made that moment such a critical part of this cutscene? Not to mention that the sword never went anywhere. And if you could summarize your intro cutscene in the most horrendous of ways, as in, you know, come play Warcraft, we have Shadowlands trauma. It's not exactly a great, like, when I look at these cutscenes, when I look at the tier list that we've done, it's either like a narration with, like, showing off cool shit, or it's a battle. And that is Warcraft in my mind. That is how you pull people into fucking Warcraft. These emotional speeches, these dialogues, they have their place in storytelling. Let me tell you, I would have died for this quality to be the full-on story of Anduin and the War Within, if they could have pulled it off. But again, as an intro cutscene, as in, like, come play Warcraft, right? I respect them for trying something new, but I don't think this is how you sell your Warcraft. But it does not speak about the quality of the cutscene. So I would, like, if I just base it on the quality of the dialogue and the animation, this would be my SSSS tier, right? But since it is for the promotion of the War Within, and since the sword is, like, Thrall questioning, like, what was it aimed at, even though Thrall would have known that that is where the Spirit of Azeroth is, right? It goes to that it was amazing. But again, for me, this cutscene is out of this world. And I hate well, I don't hate, but, like, the response it got, the hatred it got, I was, like, flabbergasted. Absolutely flabbergasted that it was the response, but there we are. And then there is another one, which is, what did they call it? Because there's a secondary cutscene that they put up on the list, right? It missed some excitement. It's a very heavy emotional piece. And in my mind, there is definitely, like, storytelling always needs to have two parts. The Thrall versus Garrosh cutscene has so much power and value to me because there is emotion and heart behind it, because there is history between these two orcs. But you know what I also really like about it is that there are two half-naked big-ass orcs trying to beat the absolute shit out of each other. And that part, I feel like Warcraft has missed along the way. And I get why, because they fired a whole bunch of the people and they got new writers and a new philosophy and all the good stuff. But I miss that kapow! I miss it so fucking much, man. But oh well. It's about balance, ain't it? It is called Shadows Beneath. Okay. Shadows Beneath is what it's called. Does that make sense? Like, I hope that my kapow makes an argument. And this is similar to like the dragonflight flying over, yeah? You beware the eyes of green. You hate the gypsy woman. What? You hate her? Orwena? I like Orwena. I mean, it's very much Navi, you know. Yeah, this one has a lot more play my game. It doesn't do a whole lot, like story-wise, it doesn't do a whole lot, but it like, you know, it shows off, like we got some cool shit, like, ooh, what are these dwarves, what is this dancing lady under the roots, what are these, you know, what are these lamplighters, these, you know, what is happening here, and then of course with the Nerubians at the end, it has the vibes. But what's interesting is that there's another one they could have easily used as a commercial for the War Within, now that I think about it. But yeah, for the rating, like I said, the overview trailer, the second one that they eventually put up, didn't lower anything for me, but it also didn't add anything for me. It's like, oh yeah, cool. We got the Haranir, we got the Arafi, and we got the Irvin. All good. And then the thing that kind of made me want to do this video is the latest one, the Midnight Sunwell cinematic. Let's open it up, shall we?
The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light
Liadrin, it has begun. I need you with me on the wall.
Mortimer, the void will envelop us soon. Only the light can save us now.
No. The time for prayer has passed.
The Sunwell will not fall. Not while I draw breath. Little elves.
see you grow weary. How much longer can you hold out? Flee and save yourselves.
Liadrin, don't.
Light be with you. You see? She understands it's hopeless. Soon, you all will.
The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through... I know that I am unworthy. I don't know if I deserve your help, but I know my people do. Please give them strength.
I admire your spirit, but that will not save you. Soon, I will break your world.
You can't even break one elf.
I can't hear it without the meme now.
This darkness comes to devour everything. And when it is finished, there will be no more light. Without your aid, we will perish. I beg you, help us.
Yo, we got this. Stand as one! Join the Alliance!
The Sunwell will not fall!
Not while we draw breath.
Sylvanas Smirk, go! So, I saw this, right? And I need to bring up something. Hang on. Cause I did a reaction to it a while ago. Noble reaction Sunwell. And that's what is the Sunwell? That is a reaction video. And hang on. Can I find something? Just need to get an example. All right, here we go. Stuff in the direction of like that looks absolutely awful, and it's like Tyrael, it's the worst cinematic ever, by the way. And I'm like, okay, so you don't have to feel like I do and be like, yo, that was awesome. But like the worst cinematic ever is also like is also on the other end of the extreme that I'm like, the worst cinematic ever? I don't know, man. So I've watched this cutscene over and over and over again, desperately trying to hate it, because I'm feeling like I'm fucking out of my mind. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's perfectly fine. I actually really like it, but that might be because I'm so deep into the lore. That's fine as well. But I don't see where the hate's coming from. I really do not. So I saw somebody mention in the comments, how to grow file, by the way, that this would work better with the first 20 seconds cut off. But I think that the first 20 seconds are critical for Liadrin's character in this cutscene. Because this is what happens.
My steps and illuminates my path. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light
Liadrin, it has begun.
She is repeating the same phrase over and over and over again. And the battle is dire. She is against the darkness. And I've literally heard someone comment, I read someone comment, you don't hear those. Why would Liadrin, a seasoned commander, leave the battlefield to go and pray? Because Liadrin is a follower of the light, and she is fighting against a mythical being called Xal'atath of the Void, and it's all over! What else is she supposed to do? So she goes to the Sunwell with, again, the prayer,
The
right?
light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through me, and by its grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through...
In her desperation, she keeps repeating the same prayer that she has since the beginning. Because, and this flows into Liadrin's history when it comes to the light. Way back when, in the Burning Crusade, Liadrin, after witnessing the horrific actions from Arthas and the Scourge, the desperation of what happened to the people and the guilt of not being able to save them, it disconnected her from the light and others as well. Then in the Burning Crusade, they had the whole, we're sucking energy and magic out of beings. And eventually, they also got a Naru to suck the light out of it. And even though sucking the light out of that Naru caused them like horrific headaches, because the Naru was like, oh my god, don't do it! That's my life energy you're eating! Ah! They were like, num 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 num. And they did it anyways. And they became the Blood Knights. And eventually, the Naru was pushed so far that it became the Darkened State, and it became Entropius, a boss that we had to fight in the Sunwell. In the Sunwell, we brought Entropius down. Liadrin at some point went to Shefrev, went to Adal, and was like, Adal, I'm so sorry, man. I ate your friend. And Adal was like, don't worry about it. It was all prophesized. It's cool. So we go into the Sunwell, and we end up with like pushing kIl'jaeden back into the Sunwell. And Velen does this whole speech thing, and Liadrin goes like, we condemned one of the most beautiful holy beings ever. Our actions may never be pardoned, right? Like we could be... Shame on our people, shame on our cow. How could we have done something like this to such a holy being? And Velen is like, well, it's a good thing I saved his core, ain't it? So he picks up the core out of his back pocket and he's like, ha. And Liadrin goes like, so much love, so much grace. There are no words. Salvation, young one, it awaits us all, as they now have a reignited Sunwell with not just the Sunwell powers, but also the core of a Naru, so a bit of light in there. So Liadrin's history with the light is incredibly complicated. She does not feel worthy to connect with it. She does it, but she's like, am I worthy? It's more going through the motions, which we see at the beginning, where she continues the prayers, the standard, Onze Vader die in de hemel zijt, blah, 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 blah. But then, in her moment of desperation, she tries it again and she comes up to this point.
Grace am I made one with all that is sacred. The light guides my steps and illuminates my path. The light flows through.
And she's like, okay. Enough pretense. Lay my weapon down, palms up. Listen, right? It's not for me.
I know that I am unworthy. I don't know if I deserve your help, but I know my people do.
She does not dare to connect to the light for just herself. She does it for the sake of her people. And in response, the light summons in support. And they've later explained that this is the army of the light, but also all of us. Like, this will all teleport us into this moment, and we will join this epic battle. And I, with Lor'themar dropping that one-liner, like, I can no longer hear that line without the meme. So people have cut up this bit with Lor'themar and Xal'atath. And, hang on, let me find it.
World. You can't even...
So he tells her, like, you... I can't see this moment without that moment anymore. But this line, I love this line for Lor'themar.
Will not save you. Soon, I will break your world.
You can't even break one elf.
I love that line so much. And Lor'themar's holding the line. Lor'themar gets his moment to shine, because Lor'themar's lore in the books is awesome. In the game, not so much. So, yeah, it's a meme. It's a meme where he calls her a cunt. Which is fantastic. And And then, like, this whole thing plays out. So I've heard the feedback. And again, I'm not trying to convince any minds or hearts. I'm just trying to explain where I'm at. And I've heard the feedback of their eyes are not glowy enough. For me personally, I thought when I watched this, I didn't notice it. First of all, I was like, this is what they look like. And I noticed that when the light came back, like very similar to what happened to Torellian with Zeta, I thought it was a artistic choice in order to make their eyes pop more when the light responded to Liadrin's prayer, and that they jump onto the battlefield and now her eyes are glowing with the light and they're empowered. So I thought that was the idea behind it. Because I feel like her eyes are glowing magically here, right? So I thought that's artistic. But okay, I've heard the suggestion of people like her eyes are not glowing enough. That her face looks manly, I mean, I disagree. And especially here, like when I look at this part of the cutscene and you can see like the crunchy in her nose, that I'm like you can see the crunchy in her nose. Like, for me, that little detail in there, I'm like, what the fuck? It looks so good. I will say, like, the lips, they look filled up. I noticed that the first time I saw it, but that's when you come down to, like, everybody has their own when it comes to what it looks like, right? Then I've heard the feedback that nothing happens. And in that regard, I'm like, can't say I agree, because we're in the middle of, like, a big-ass invasion from Xal'atath and the Void, and the Blood Elves are holding off an army, and Xal'atath. So, yes, that's what happens, and she summons in the troops, and she gets the expansion going. So I don't understand where the nothing happens come from. Like, if we want a nothing happens, then we're looking at Wrath of the Lich King, where there's a dragon flying over an army with narration. That's where nothing happens. This is in the middle of a battle. What do you mean nothing happens? And my major critique when it comes to the cutscene, it has to do with Xal'atath playing with her food. But this might be explained in-game. My question is, if she can do this, why is she not just rolling up to the Sunwell and doing what she wants to do? Why is she still toying with her food? And she did the whole speech of no more games. She has what she needs. Why doesn't she just ruffle stomp everybody and just go, I use ruffle stomp in a sentence, that's right. Why doesn't she just walk up to the Sunwell and get things done? And it could be explained in-game that there might be a reason why Xal'atath wants to do this. From this cinematic, I do not see it. In this cinematic, it just seems like she is overpowered and she loves to play with food, but I've seen that so many times. I've seen that so many times now. I'm kind of getting sick of it. Like, oh, look, there's this overpowered being. Nobody can defeat her. But what is that? Oh my god, something can defeat her? Nah. And then, this moment, they described this at Gamescom as like Xal'atath is surprised that Liadrin in the Light answers the call. Like, this is not something Xal'atath expects. Except when I look at this cutscene, Xal'atath is smirking. And I was like, is this part of Xal'atath's plans? But that doesn't seem to be the case. It just seems to be she is smirking. We had Sylvanas smirk in Battle for Azeroth, so now Xal'atath is smirking like, ha ha ha, bring it. And it's like, well, if you say so, why not? So that is my major critique. And it wouldn't be much of an expansion with no climax, true. But if that is the case, you can write this in such a way that there is no stopping Xal'atath. Why is she just hovering there menacingly? You can write, like, this is created out of thin air. You can sit around the table and be like, okay, we want Xal'atath to be an unstoppable force. How are we going to fill this in without having her play with her food? There are ways of going around it. But all that said, I will put this at that was amazing. I love that cutscene so much. I'll step away from the S. All right, I'll step away because I do have the whole she is playing with her food thing, and I thought maybe that's gonna be more, but that's not gonna be a thing. And they already revealed that the Army of the Light comes out of the portal, and I think from a commercial point of view, that is something you wanted to keep a secret, so that way people can like speculate and talk about it, be like, ooh, what do you think came out of the portal? A Ruffi Empire? Is it murky? Is it, the Sunwell portal? Yeah. Do I think Xal'atath is afraid of us? She is mindful of us. Like, that's the cool part about her invasion Dalaran. Like, she was there back during Legion. She knew our strengths and weaknesses, and she played into it. So, yeah. Do we know what Xal'atath wants to do when she gets more powerful? She apparently wants the soul of this world. let me bring up where we learned this. Thank you very much to the YouTube, by the way, watching. And by all means, let me know how you would rank these, yeah?